Hey guys, what's going on? RetroGamer here, and welcome back to another review featuring the Nintendo Game Boy Micro. So, what is this thing? What did Nintendo do for their last Nintendo Game Boy? Well, they actually did not one, but two things. If we travel back to the year 2005, we'll see that Nintendo released two Game Boys side by side, the Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP AGS 101 and the Nintendo Game Boy Micro. So what makes this Game Boy Advance SP different from the original that was released in 2003 is the screen on this one is truly backlit. If you remember on the original, when you press the button, it would turn the light off and on, but this now has a low and high, making it truly backlit, and it was a great addition and a nice upgrade to the Game Boy Advance SP. If you haven't seen the review on this one, I'll link it up to the card, but this was a major upgrade, and it was really nice to have a truly backlit Game Boy Advance SP. And then they released this thing, the Nintendo Game Boy Micro. And, I'm going to be honest, while it is a cool little thing that Nintendo made, I don't know if I can say that it's a really great addition. I mean, we'll get more into it as we go with the review. We'll look at the features and I'll talk more about it, but, at the core, it's cool, but it's kind of odd. But let's take a look at the features, and then we'll talk more about it as we go on. So these plates on the front are changeable, so you could change these out. They have a lot of different colors and variations, and really customize your Game Boy Micro, and it was really cool. One of the other cool things is they brought back the headphone jack. If you remember on the SP, they took it out, and you had to use an adapter. I didn't like that adapter. The adapter was garbage. And if we look at the front here, we have a D-pad. The buttons and D-pad, they're soft, but I really like them actually. They feel really nice. The L and R triggers up here, they feel nice too. This is the part where you charge it. It has a rechargeable battery. This is the button for the power, the cartridge slot, and then this is the volume buttons. It's like a rocker. It's not like the sliders or the little wheels on the older Game Boys. This is like two buttons, and that's really it for the Game Boy Micro. Now, the Game Boy Micro natively can only play Game Boy Advance games. Now, yeah, there are ways to get around that, but natively you are locked to Game Boy Advance games, which, isn't a big deal. There's a lot of really good Game Boy Advance games to play on, and, I don't know if you would even want to play Game Boy and Game Boy Color games because the screen's so small as it is. It's not all that enjoyable to play Game Boy Advance games, in my opinion, on this thing, but also what I wanted to mention was the charger. So this is the cord that I have for this Game Boy Micro. And I thought that it was the same as the Nintendo DS Lite, but it is different. It is slightly bigger than the DS Lite, so I don't know what this cord is. I don't know if they used it in any other of their products or if this was the only time that they changed, chargers. Because if you remember on the Game Boy Advance SP and the original DS, they used the same charger, and then they changed it for the DS Lite, and I thought it would have been the same, but no, it's different. So I don't know what that cord is, but I've played a lot around with this thing, and I think it's really cool. I do think it's really cool. One of the other cool things is, yes, of course it's backlit, but it has 4 levels of brightness actually. So if you hold L and press up or down, you have 4 levels of brightness, and that's really nice. I do like this screen. Even though it's small, I do like the screen. It is a cool Game Boy to play around with. However, I just don't know how practical it is, and I don't know if I could really recommend it. I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't recommend it if you're looking to play Game Boy Advance games. If you're looking to play Game Boy Advance games, get something like an SP. Get something like the original DS. Get something like a DS Lite. Actually, if I had to pick between these three, the DS Lite is the best way to play Game Boy Advance games. If you're looking to only play Game Boy Advance games, the DS Lite is amazing. It is the best option. One of the reasons I don't like the AGS 101 is there's a lot of motion blur. I talked a lot about that in my review if you want to see it up in the card. There's a lot of motion blur on the screen, and it's not the best. It's almost the best Game Boy, but it's just not quite there. And then you have this one. It's just, for me, it's just a little too small, and it's just not comfortable to hold. The screen's fine. Like it's not all that small. It's just the comfort. Like I like that they went back to this, like this design, much like the original Game Boy Advance. I like how they went back with this style because the original Game Boy Advance was super comfortable. This just is a little too small for me, and I wish I liked it more. Like I want to like it. I really want to like it and say that this is a super good Game Boy. I would recommend this to anyone. I love it, but it's really more of a collector's piece. I got this as a gift. I've been wanting this for years, and I really like this Game Boy. It's super cool. I love it in my collection, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna play it all the time because it's not very comfortable, and the screen's small. Even though, yeah, I said like the screen's fine, it's small, And if you're looking to play strictly Game Boy Advance games, as I said, I would get something like the SP or the DS Lite. I would really recommend a DS Lite, but if you want to get an SP, you can get an SP too. But if you're only looking to play Game Boy Advance games, I would go another route. If you're looking to add this to your collection, I would say go for it. It's super cool, but don't buy it expecting to have a really good experience with it. In my opinion, I just don't think it's gonna work for a lot of people. Like in general, I don't think a lot of people are gonna like it. Plus, this thing is expensive. This thing is really expensive. Like on average, these things go for like $200 plus. Like it's not a cheap Game Boy. So that's another thing. I don't want you to spend money on this thing and be disappointed because it's not all that great. I'm telling you, like it's a really cool Game Boy piece. It's a cool piece of history. It's great in my collection. I love it. I'm a Game Boy collector. I collect old games in general, but this is not for everyone. It's really expensive and it's not for everyone. It's a cool Game Boy, but if you're looking to play only Game Boy Advance games, there's many other cheaper routes. And it's cool, but as I keep saying, I don't want to ramble on more and more. It's not for everyone. But I'm gonna stop rambling here and say that was my review on the Nintendo Game Boy Micro. So guys, this is RetroGamer. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys back here with another review. See you guys then.